DBZ gang, what's happening, y'all, and welcome back to some more storytime reaction videos. Now for today we have some interesting videos. Alright, I'm not even gonna spoil it. Alright, two videos you're gonna watch come from the same channel. Alright, Storytime Animated. Links in below description for you guys to see the videos for yourself. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this. Let's go. Alright guys, so first video we're gonna watch for today is called My Girlfriend is Forcing Me to Date Other Girls.
Oh, that's hot.
My question is, my guy, what's the problem? What's the problem with that? Well, why? But let's get into it. Let's see why he's having problems with that. So let's go ahead.
Hurry and get yourself ready for church, my mom said as she slammed my bedroom door. Okay, Mom, I sighed and tried to get out of bed. My family was fiercely religious, and we'd go to church every single Sunday. My mom, dad, and 3 sisters all had to hurry so that they could be on time. We didn't even get to finish breakfast. That day, I really tried to keep my eyes open in church, but the sermon was really boring. I was thinking about what I'd eat for lunch and where I'd hang out with my friends after. I felt like I had been sitting there for hours. Close to the end of the service, my pastor asked if those who were visiting for the first time could introduce themselves. That was when I saw her, Linda.
Ooh.
She stood up with her dad, who explained that they had just moved from another state. She didn't see me, though, and I wondered how I'd get to talk to her and if I'd ever have the courage to. I just kept staring at her, hoping we'd make eye contact.
Hey, man.
I didn't get to see her again.
You in church. You're not supposed to be thinking about that right now. You're in church. You're supposed to be thinking about Jesus. You're in church. Damn.
And until the church's concert 2 weeks later. My parents would never let me go to regular concerts, so I was stuck going to church activities all the time.
Dang.
I sat down staring into space when she came and sat next to me.
Ooh.
Hi, she said. I looked up and was shocked. Hey, Linda, it's nice to finally meet you, I mumbled. How did you know my name? She asked. I was there when you introduced yourself last week. Anyway, I'm Charles.
All right. He kind of sounded like a little stalker at first. He kind of did at first. He kind of sounded like it, but we're going to let it slide, my guy. What's his name again? I didn't catch his name.
Hey,
Hold
Linda,
on.
it's nice to finally meet you, I mumbled. How did you know my name? She asked. I was there when you introduced yourself last week. Anyway, I'm Charles, I replied.
Charles. All right, listen, my guy. Charles. What's your name? Listen, look at me a second. So what's the problem having 2 girlfriends? What's the problem? But you know what? We'll get into that, Charles. Let's go ahead and get into it.
The rest of the night. After the concert, she let me walk her home. We exchanged numbers, and from there, it all went uphill.
Okay.
We'd go to weekly church activities just to be together. I got to know her better. She seemed kind and innocent. After a few months, we decided to get into a committed relationship.
Ooh.
The days passed by, and I really began to feel like she was the one I wanted to be with for the rest of my life. We never argued, and we had lots of fun together. Even our parents knew about each other, and despite their religious beliefs, they let us visit each other at home and go out wherever we wanted. Everything was perfect. Until I forgot about our 1-year anniversary.
Dang, it's been a year
It was an
already.
ordinary Tuesday. Linda bumped into me in the hallway at school. She looked very sad. What's wrong, my love? I asked. What's wrong? Is that all you're going to say? She replied. What is all of this about? I asked. I can't believe you forgot our anniversary.
Charles.
I don't think you appreciate me. I don't think you really care about me. You're just with me for the sake of it. I hate you, Charles, she screamed and walked away.
Whoa.
Everyone stopped what they were...
Whoa. Sweetheart, you can't be saying the H word and have the word you at the end of the H word. That's terrible. Why do you... Dang. Obviously, I can tell she's toxic. I can tell that very much a lot. But, Charles, damn, Charles, like, how do you forget? Oh, you messed up, Charles. You forgetting your girlfriend's 1-year anniversary, that's just as equivalent of you forgetting to tell your mom, your black mom, your mom where you're at, and you ain't call and tell her where you were at. You always supposed to call and tell with a black mom. You always supposed to call and tell them where you're at. You always supposed to, because if you don't, as soon as you open that door, you going home, You know what's ready. You know what's gonna be ready in her hand. Belt in one hand, flip flop in the other hand, frying pan in the back.
Doing and stared at me. It was so embarrassing. Wow, I thought. I had really messed up.
Yeah, you
But
did.
I also felt like she was overreacting. It's not like we were married or anything.
I mean, it's
Why were
one
girls
year.
so serious about that type of stuff? Wasn't it enough that we were already happy together? For the next week, I tried calling her, but she refused to pick up the phone. I
Okay,
decided to show up at her house.
guys. This is all my guys watching. Don't ever say, "Oh, what's the big deal?" Don't say that, because if you honestly think like that, the girl is going to believe that you're not interested in the relationship. If you show that you actually know the your anniversary, even the 5 month anniversary, the 4 month, even though nobody really cares about that. But if you show that you show that, I can't even talk. If you show that it's your anniversary coming up and all that other stuff, then obviously she's like, "Oh my god, babe, you care? Oh my god, like, oh my god, like, oh my god, you want some head?" Like, she'll go ahead and do something like that. You feel me? So like, I'm trying to help you out. All right, I'm trying to help you out.
Afternoon. Luckily, she was the only one home. Linda, please forgive me. You know I care about you, and
Got my
you're the
boy on
only
one
one
knee.
I love, I said. I will forgive you, but you'll have to agree to do what I tell you next, she replied.
Oh shit.
I'll do anything, I pleaded.
Can you wipe the
She
tear?
asked me to come up to her room. I thought we were going to make out or something, but when I got there, she just turned on her computer and stared at me emotionlessly. Then she showed me an Excel file with a bunch of names and dates. What is this? I said, confused. I don't think you truly appreciate me. I've prepared this little activity so that you can understand what a perfect girlfriend I am, she replied. What do you mean? I already believe you're the perfect girlfriend, and I appreciate you more than anyone else in the world. I was nearly crying. No, you don't. Anyway, this is how it's going to work. You're going to go on dates with other girls. On these dates, you're going to realize that I'm better than them all. When you're finished going on all these dates, you will appreciate me more, and we can move on from there. I've already scheduled all the dates. Your first one is with Madison tomorrow,
What?
she said firmly. Linda, this is insane. I don't want to go on dates with other girls, I said. This is the only way I'll continue being your girlfriend, she said, and went completely silent after that. I decided that I'd do as she said because I was really afraid of losing her. My first date with Madison was a complete disaster.
Wait. Okay, if there's any female watching this, please, in all honesty, please let me know if you would go about the way how Linda is going in the situation. Please let me know if you would do the same thing, or let me know if you think she's crazy, because that is so idiotic. Y'all are so young. The reason why I say y'all are so young is because obviously he hasn't, experienced or dealt with a lot of relationships with a lot of women. So he doesn't exactly know what he wants with another woman. So when he goes ahead and have a date with Madison, and he be like, "Oh damn, like maybe I do like this in a girl, or maybe this is really what I am missing in a girl and everything," and he picks Madison, Linda's gonna be feeling stupid. Because she's gonna be like, "Oh, I feel perfect. He's not gonna pick the other girl. He's not gonna pick me." No, okay, because a guy will go ahead and pick another one. You put him on a. No, never mind. Just.
She was a high school senior and someone I rarely ever interacted with because I'm a sophomore. We went to a hamburger joint. I tried to be friendly and make conversation, even
She's
though
from
I
your
didn't
school?
want to be out with her, but she didn't seem to care at all. She just kept quiet and rolled her eyes at me most of the time. The only words she said to me were, "You're taking care of the bill, right?" And then she left. On my own, I sat thinking about Linda and how I wished I was out with her instead. I guessed her plan was already working. My second date was with Kylie, a preppy cheerleader who I remembered from history class.
How many
She was
dates you going
gorgeous,
on?
but really dumb. We went to a park and sat on a bench eating ice cream. "Hey, I want to feed the pigeons," she said excitedly.
How did I know
"What's
that's gonna
stopping
happen?
you?" I asked. "Give me your ice cream cone," she said. She didn't even wait for me to finish eating. She grabbed my cone and tore it up into little pieces. She threw them at our feet and the pigeons flocked around us. Did I mention that I hate pigeons? Anyway, she went on for about half an hour after that, talking about how pigeons are really reptiles and not birds. She knew this because she saw a video on YouTube and that the textbooks and science teachers were lying to us. Mind-boggling, huh? I told her I had to leave because I could already feel my IQ dropping every minute I spent with her. I called Linda when I got home. Honey, can we finish now? I really hate those girls you're making me go on dates with. The first was really mean and the second was extremely stupid. You've made your point, I said. No, you still have 10 other dates. Don't call me until they're over. I've emailed your schedule for the next 2 weeks, she said, and hung up. It was no use arguing with her. It was her way or the highway.
Oh, she thinks she's slick. She thinks she's slick. While he out here going on other dates with other females, I bet you, she's having other dates with other men. I bet you the same thing. I bet you she is going out having other dates with other men. Entanglements. I bet you that's what she's doing. You think you're slick, Linda? I'm on to you, Linda. I got you where I need you. I got you. Caught you red-handed.
Oh, I just did what she wanted. I thought I would just pretend I was some sort of robot for the rest of the dates. I could try to condition myself to be emotionless. I'd be there, but not really there, if you know what I mean. It worked for all of the dates, too. Well, all except one. The last one. Her name was Ivy. The date planned for us was a trip to an amusement park. I guess Linda wanted to make sure my last date was fun. We met at the entrance of the park. I had never seen her until that afternoon. She had bright, lively eyes and a warm, caring smile. I could tell that she was certainly different from the others. Hey, let's try the merry-go-round, she laughed. She had a contagious laugh. Aren't we too big for those? I smiled. She grabbed my hand and we went anyway. Surprisingly, I didn't feel stupid. In fact, I felt all warm and fuzzy inside. She was really adorable. The highlight of my life was in the haunted house. I was probably more scared than she was for most of the time. But close to the exit, something grabbed her leg and she jumped into my arms. I held her closely, so close that I could smell her hair. It smelled like bubblegum and I didn't want to let her go. Don't be scared, I'm here. I heard her sniffle and then she punched me lightly in the stomach and said, I'm not scared. I suddenly remembered I had a girlfriend, and for the first time, that fact made me unhappy. When I got home, Linda called immediately. I hope you had an interesting time, Charles. You no longer have to go on dates with other girls, and I'm ready to take you back, she said. Great. I hesitated before saying. Is something wrong? She said. No, everything is perfect. I can't wait to see you again, I said. I started seeing Linda again, and we would go on our regular dates, but I was starting to feel that maybe she wasn't the right one for me. I really missed Ivy, and I thought about her all the time. At the amusement park, we exchanged numbers, but I never called her after Linda decided to take me back. One night, I decided to call her because I missed her so much. Hey, scaredy cat, I said.
Nicknames!
How are you? I've missed you, she replied. Really? I asked. Oops, did I say that out loud? She laughed. We agreed to meet up after school the next day. It was safe because Linda had a club meeting and she wouldn't know. We had a great time together, which caused me to...
Okay, so obviously now we know that the girls, the 10 or 12 girls that Charles went on a date with, they didn't know that Linda was the one who set up the dates. So they think that he's single, obviously. So first of all, actually he didn't cheat, because she did it herself. But now he's basically cheating now because she doesn't know. I knew it was gonna happen. Are you happy, ladies? Is your logic adding up now? Are you happy? I hope all my females watching this, I hope y'all not dumb enough to do something like this. I really do hope you're not dumb enough to do something like this. Because all my females watching, everybody watching this. Obviously, all the people watching this are very intelligent people. Some people who are going to be future businessmen, Future NBA players. Actually, no, we have too many of those. But future presidents. I believe in you. But the rest of the people who are not watching this, they stupid. But you, You. I'm hitting you at every angle. You. Obviously, you're smart. You're not going to make a dumb decision like Linda. So, let's move on, okay?
Miss her even more when she wasn't around. So I continued meeting her regularly. She never tried to boss me around, and she did little things to show that she really cared about me. She wasn't just pretty. She had a beautiful personality. In her free time, she often volunteered to read stories to little kids at the library.
She loved kids,
I would join her
too.
sometimes because I love kids.
Oh,
They're
you
so
love
cute
kids,
and
too?
interesting. Sometimes she helped out at a homeless shelter, and I really admired that she cared about people so much. I felt safe and happy when I was with her. But then I'd remember Linda, and I'd feel horrible. One night, Ivy and I decided to go to watch a movie together. I thought it was safe because Linda said she had to study for a science quiz the next day. I chose a horror movie because I remembered what happened the last time Ivy got scared.
You mean
We
like
bought
how
our
you were scared
snacks
too?
and went to sit at the back of the theater. The movie started, and I felt like I was the one who would need to be comforted. I was shaking in my socks. Ivy grabbed my hand and whispered, "Who's the scaredy cat now?" "Not me," I replied while putting my arm around her shoulder.
Ooh!
She snuggled in closer to me. "You know, I really like you, Charles," she whispered again. I held her cheek softly and was about to kiss her when suddenly the person in the seat in front of us got up and threw their drink right in my face. "Hey, what the hell?" I shouted.
No way.
I turned on my
No
phone's
way.
flashlight
No
so I could
way.
see who had
No
done
way.
it.
No way.
I couldn't
No
believe
way.
my
No
eyes.
way.
It was Linda. "What are you doing with her? How could you do this to me?"
Why
she
are you
screamed.
here?
She shouted and made such a big fuss that security had to come to escort the three of us outside. Ivy just stood there calmly during it all, and I finally realized what I had to do. "Linda, I don't think I can do this anymore. I thought I loved you, but I don't. Ivy is kinder, smarter, and much more beautiful than you are."
Damn!
And out. "It's over," I said. She stood there with her mouth wide open while I took Ivy's hand and kissed it. "I'm all yours now," I said, and she smiled.
Yo! Hey, the only thing I can say is, it's ironic how he forgot about Linda, just like how he forgot about him and Linda's 1-year anniversary. Woo! Alright, let's go. Alright guys, next video for today we have is called I Found My Online Boyfriend is Actually My Dad.
Oh, that's hot.
Sweet home Alabama. Woo! I don't know the rest of the words. But let's get into this. All right.
I had just finished stuffing the last of my stuff into a bag when my mom shouted, "Elle, come on, time to go." Throwing my backpack over my shoulder, I slid down the railing of the stairs one last time. I was used to
slipped my
moving,
balls.
but I really liked this house.
Oh, man.
My dad was standing at the door of the house. He gave me that look, the look he always gave me when we moved, that apologetic look. I could tell he felt bad, but he didn't have to make my mom and I move just because he needed to be closer to his clients for a few months. He could just
They're about
travel
to kiss?
back and
What's wrong with
forth.
them?
Before I continue, don't forget to like and subscribe to let us know if you want more insane stories like this one.
Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe to me.
Moving always put me in a bad mood. We were going to be in the car for a few hours, so I decided to just take a nap. I was trying to fall asleep when I heard my mom and dad talking. My dad said, "I feel bad. Elle being so lonely is my fault." He then raised his voice, and looking into the rear view mirror, asked me, "Elle, are you awake?" To which I responded with a sleepy grunt. "This is our last move. I promise." I jolted awake and sat up energetically. "Really?" I asked him. He nodded, and I couldn't help tearing up. I started imagining finally having a solid group of friends. Since we moved so often, I never bothered to make friends. That way I wouldn't get hurt when we eventually left. But now it was different. We stopped at a small hotel by the highway a few hours later. This trip was going to take around 4 days. My mom and I decided to drive to the nearest town and get something for dinner, while Dad stayed behind and took a shower. While we were shopping in the local supermarket, my phone buzzed. I figured it was my dad, but it was a message on social media.
From Chad.
I opened it and discovered it was from a boy.
Chad.
A cute one, too.
Chad.
He said he always saw me eating alone at my old school and wanted to talk to me, but but that I suddenly disappeared, so he never had the chance. I asked him a bunch of questions to make sure he was real. I even asked him to send me a picture of our school yearbook. I had never seen him before, but I kept to myself. So maybe I just missed him in the crowd of people I avoided. My mom told me to hurry up with the shopping cart, so I slid my phone into my pocket and hurried over to her. My dad went to bed earlier than my mom and I that night because he was tired from driving. My mom stayed up watching a movie on her laptop, and I stayed up talking to Max, the boy who texted me. We talked about why I moved around so much, about school and teachers we hated. He was very funny, and although our conversations were just friendly, I like to think he meant whatever he said with flirty undertones, because I know I did. I talked to Max whenever I could during the road trip. It felt kind of weird, but I had a crush on him. I felt like I could tell him anything, really, and he made having left our last home even more sad. My first day of school at the new school was really scary.
Middle
School
school?
was twice as big as my
Whoa! Sweetheart, you got me thinking you older. I'm thinking like, well, when I first saw her, obviously I knew that like she was young, but like, you got me thinking, cause she was like, oh, flirting, all this other stuff. Like, I'm like, oh, well, obviously they might be like going to high school and everything, but this what y'all do? This is what y'all do in high school or middle school? This what y'all do in middle school? This is what y'all do in middle school? Y'all be flirting and everything, all crazy? Cause when I was in middle school, school, books, education, that's what we did. But that's what we do.
already huge. I felt like I could get lost. But then I remembered I could make connections with people now because I was going to finish high school there in 2 years. Plenty of time to make loads of friends. I asked a girl who looked just about my age for big as my old school whenever I could during the road trip.
Now
It
I don't
felt
know what
kinda
school she's
weird,
in.
But I had a crush on him. I felt like I could tell him anything, really, and he made having left our last home even more sad. My first day of school at the new school was really scary.
Oh, she said
School
her
was
first day of
twice as
school
big as my
at the
old
new
which was
school.
already huge.
Oh,
I
I
felt like
thought
I
she
could
said
get
at
lost.
middle school.
But then
God,
I
I feel
remembered
so
I
stupid.
could make connections
Oh
with
my
people
God.
now
All right,
because
now
I
it
was
makes
gonna
more
finish
sense
high
that she's
school
flirting
there in
with
2 years.
Chad and everything. I was about
Plenty
to
of
say.
time to make loads of friends. I asked a girl who looked just about my age for directions and headed to class. I talked to loads of people during and in between class. They were excited that there was a new girl, and I was excited to get to know all of them.
I mean, everybody be
couldn't
excited when
stop
there's a new
smiling
girl.
all day because I was finally not alone. During lunch, I sat at a table at the cafeteria and people sat around me, asking me about myself and introducing themselves.
Girl,
The
close your
girl I
mouth.
had asked for directions earlier sat next to me and asked me, "Do you have a boyfriend?" I didn't really know what to say because I wanted them to think I was cool, but I didn't want to lie to them. I eventually did lie. I said that Max was my boyfriend, but he lived back home. I showed them pictures of him and all, and I could tell they were impressed, but I felt kind of guilty lying like that. Later that day, I was unpacking boxes in my room when my phone buzzed. My stomach filled with butterflies when I saw it was Max. He was asking me how my first day of school went. I told him everything, about how I always had a crowd around me and made tons of friends. He wrote, "Wow, you're already replacing me?" with a sad face emoji next to it. I chuckled at how cute he was, and then realized I should probably tell him what I said about him. I bit my nails in nervousness when I saw that he left my message on scene after I told him that I had said he was my boyfriend.
Oh,
I tried to take my mind off of him the rest of the day,
Oh!
because hours later, he still hadn't replied.
Oh!
I worked on some schoolwork, baked a pie, unpacked my entire wardrobe, and organized my
Dang, I know that
messy
anxiety
stuff, trying to work
feeling.
off the
I
nerves.
know,
But I still
sweetheart.
had an uneasy feeling in the pit
I
of my
know,
stomach.
sweetheart.
What if he thought I was a weirdo and never wanted to talk to me again? Around a week passed and Max still had not texted me. I sent him a couple messages because I was worried I had ruined our friendship. At school, I barely thought about him because I was always distracted. But the second I got home and had free time, he was suddenly all I could think about. I was sitting in the cafeteria with some friends, just talking, when a friend sitting across from me looked behind me and smiled. I was about to turn around when someone's hand covered my eyes. "Guess who?" said a boy's voice. I took his hands off my eyes, and when I turned around, it was Max. I couldn't believe it. I immediately jumped and wrapped my arms around his neck. I realized I was tearing up a bit, so I hid my face on his shoulder. When I let go, I slapped his shoulder playfully and began scolding him for not texting me back. He said he got permission from the principal to visit the school for a day, so we spent the
What?
day at school together. I couldn't help just staring at
What?
him whenever he talked. I had never even heard his voice.
What school is this? Huh? You just allow any student to be in there? A potential school threat? Never mind. I guess I'm thinking too hard.
before, and any feelings I had for him grew tenfold. After school, we decided to walk home. I was nervous to spend time with him alone, but he held my hand to calm me down. I asked him, "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" To which he replied, "I wanted to surprise you." He went quiet a second, and then continued, "I wanted to ask you to be my girlfriend in person, since it's more romantic and all." My heart simply melted.
Hey,
I
obviously
wrapped
he
my
knows
arms
what to
around
do.
his neck
Obviously
again and
he
hugged
knows what to
him.
do.
We got home 10 minutes
You
later.
guys can take some notes from
I was super
Max,
excited
alright?
to introduce Max
You
to
got
my
my
parents.
approval.
"Mom, Dad," I said, "this is Max, my boyfriend." My dad and Max shook hands first. Then he shook hands more softly with my mom. "If it's not a problem for you, Mr. and Mrs. Wilkerson, I'd like to take your daughter out on a date today," Max said. I heard my mom stifle back a squeal of excitement, but Dad gave him a disapproving look. Mom elbowed him, after which Dad said, "Yes, no problem, young man." Mom smiled brightly and pulled me upstairs. She must have made me try on a dozen outfits and 5 hairstyles.
Damn,
She
what the fuck?
finally made me slip on a dress and curled my hair slightly. She put mascara and lip gloss on me.
Are you
"I
doing
just
a little
want
too
your
much?
first
Where the
date to
date
be
at?
perfect,"
Where the
she
date gonna be
said.
at? You doing a little
I
too
managed
much.
to escape my mom's clutches and headed back downstairs, but I wanted to hear the awkward conversation between my dad and my boyfriend. As I tiptoed closer, I heard it much less awkward than I expected. "So has your rate gone up, boy?" I heard my dad say,
What?
which Max denied. "What rate? What was my dad paying Max for?" I walked in and they both turned to look at me, Max looking guilty. "What rate?" I asked Max specifically. But my dad jumped in saying, "He's gonna mow the lawn for us while he's here, and I asked him to pluck the dandelions too."
The hell?
Max simply nodded, but I noticed he wouldn't look me in the eyes. My dad could fool anyone with how good he was at lying. Everyone except me. I had a feeling he and Max were hiding something from me, but I let it go for the time being. Max took me to a cute little ice cream parlor where we sat, talking for hours.
You got that dressed
He
up
was
for an ice
funny
cream
and
parlor?
charming, so of course my stomach was all butterflies when he talked. I felt comfortable around him. I didn't feel self-conscious if I snorted between laughs, or if I had some ice cream on my chin. He would just laugh and snort back or wipe the ice cream off my chin. We finished our ice cream pretty quickly, so we stood up and went for seconds. I got lemon, and to my surprise, he got peanut butter. I watched him order his ice cream, and when we sat down, he started eating it. "How's your ice cream?" I asked him. "It's great," he replied with a bright smile. "I should call an ambulance or something, though, shouldn't I? Before you pass out?" I asked him. He looked at me like I had just told a joke he didn't understand. "You know, since you're allergic to peanuts," I explained. His eyes grew wide. "You told me you're very allergic to peanuts, so how come you're eating peanut butter ice cream?" I asked him. I put my cup of ice cream down and crossed my arms. Max seemed to deflate. He looked down in shame, before spilling all his
What?
secrets to me. He showed me the conversations on his phone, the transactions and the voicemails. I was shocked and hurt. I closed my eyes to keep tears from streaming down my face, but it was in vain. I shot Max an icy glare. He looked desperate and worried. "But I want to get to know you," he said, reaching for my hand, but I moved it away and stormed off. I slammed the door open when I got home and went straight to my dad's office. "How could you?" I shouted at him. "You're sick. I can't believe you did that to me." I was offended and I felt invaded. While I thought I was texting a cute boy my age, I was actually texting my own father? His face fell when he registered what I was shouting. "Elle," he began, but I cut him off, saying, "No, you don't get to make excuses. You invaded my privacy. You tricked me
What?
and Max. You hired an actor to pose as my boyfriend? What made you think that was okay? It's messed up." My mom then walked into the room because she heard the noise. I told her what he had done,
Why would
and it
you
was
do
reassuring
that?
to see that she was just as shocked and disgusted as I was. Dad frantically tried to explain to my mom and I why he would do such a thing, but nothing he said could make it better.
What'd he
And
say?
Paid a boy to use his picture and then pose as my boyfriend? Am I crazy to think that's messed up? I avoided him around the house for months, until the day he left. He kept his promise. We wouldn't move again, but he did. As he drove away from our house, I stood with my mom at the front door of our house. My mom wiped a tear from her cheek and asked me, "Will you ever forgive your father, darling?" To which I replied, "Of course. I know he didn't mean to hurt me." My mom sniffled and walked into the house. I was about to do the same when I heard a familiar voice behind me say,
Oh, God,
"Elle."
this
I
guy.
turned around and saw Max standing there with a bouquet of beautiful flowers. We stood there for a second, just looking at each other. I hadn't seen him in months. I had almost forgotten what he looked like. because he was only really in my life for half a day. "Oh, I'm sorry," he said, to which I replied that it wasn't his fault. I meant what I said at that ice cream place. "I do want to get to know you. Everything I learned about you is amazing. Please, just give me a chance." He gave me the bouquet of flowers. It was as big as my entire upper body. I looked at him and couldn't help smiling.
I'm still confused
I
why
asked
the
him,
dad would do that.
"Want to go for some peanut butter ice cream?" And we walked hand in hand, taking turns carrying the enormous bouquet that I didn't want out of my sight just yet.
Why would the dad do that though? I'm still confused on that part. That's the part that's really messing me up. Why would the dad do that? I don't know. But alright guys, that is going to just about do it for these reaction videos to these storytime animated videos. Now, like I said from before, links are below in the description box for you guys to view these videos out for yourself. But in the meantime, hey, tell a friend you got the channel. Tell a friend you got the channel. Alright, okay, alright. Deuces.